So I've just gotten home and my 1 Series BMW has just absolutely let go. I literally pulled into the garage and I've been there like 1 minute and then poof, just a big expelling sound, and then steam started to pour out from the bonnet. You can see there's actually coolant has been spraying up on the bonnet here, and water, coolant everywhere, all over the side of the reservoir here, all over this top bracket. I've rinsed it all down now, but there was coolant just everywhere. So I needed to find out where it had come from. Initially I thought the coolant tank had split because there was coolant on the seam on both sides. Everything was very hot. It only just pulled in. I was really lucky it happened here, not out on the road, because once your coolant lets go, you can't keep going. You have to stop straight away. So that saved me a tow. But then eventually, what happened, I took the lid off here. Like by the time I got the bonnet up and got here, it had mainly stopped, but I was trying to find where the leak was. Was it the radiator back here? What was going on? But can you hold that torch on that? There's a little hose here, that one with the silver heat shrink on it, right there, is the culprit, and it, as you can see, it has sheared clean off. There's the fitting and there's the hose. I have had a little intermittent leak with this, and you can see the dark that's on the top of it. This has been a little leak for a while, but now that whole fitting has sheared off, so we're going to have to replace that whole fitting. I can see one bolt in the top. There's probably another one on the flange on the bottom. So you can see the silver pipe goes down. It goes down to that fitting there. So we're going to have to pull it out until we get him out and see how much needs to be replaced. But yeah, very exciting. Very glad it happened here in my garage. But we've got ourselves another part to replace. Now you see here, that is the exhaust pipe, those guys there. So we've got plastic. It has got shielding on it, but plastic right beside that exhaust pipe. So it's going to have the maximum heat cycling going on, heating and cooling and carrying on. So we've started the process. We've just taken out one 10mm bolt. Now we're going to flick that gusset out, and then we'll start to investigate down below that hose to see what needs to be pulled apart to get the other half of it off. Okay, so that just leave it out, no problem at all. And now we're going to pull up that hose and see what's involved in getting out the other end of that. That silver bit on this, not a removable clamp, it's a fixed clamp. So whatever fitting that is, we're going to have to replace the whole. So that silver hose we've disconnected comes down, and that there, the black thing, is a radiator fitting like this, with the pin that needs to be pulled up, and then the fitting can come off. Although they stick like crazy. I'll replace the radiator in this. You have a look at the link. No fun at all, but all right, we'll pull that. It's got a slide of metal. We'll pull that up, and then we'll pull that hose off, and it is just going to be a matter of replacing the pliers and just lift that silver thing straight up. You put the pliers on the top of it, and it should just slide straight up. That's it, like that. That's what's happened down below. So you can see there the little ribs in front of the plug where it's coming off. As soon as you can see one of those, you can stick a screwdriver in and start to lever it backwards. You can see I actually broke one of them off, those ribs there. So you can then lever the plug back, and that's now off. So you want to grab it, and we'll pull that hose out. And that water will be hot. Here we go. There we go. That is the little offending rascal. Yeah, you can see the last person who fitted this. It looks like it has been changed before, not original. They've put some silicone on it. So that just creates a bit of a situation. We've got to clean that off, but that's just a matter of giving it a rub. And even the little yellow bit that's there, that's where there's been a little bit of stuff leaking. So just a bit of water and rubbing that again, just with a towel. Nothing is going to leave lint or put muck inside the coolant system. Let's clean that up, and then we're ready to put the new part on. The part has arrived. The cheapest was just to buy this on eBay. This is the new part. And as you can see, it's exactly what we want. This part's still attached on the new one. Now, $120, or about $130, I think it was, including tax, from BMW if I'd bought a genuine part. and 35 on eBay. So a huge difference. And again, I had a look, there was a couple of different types available, so I bought the one that looked best, and I really am happy with how this looks, the quality of the fitting on the end here, the spring fitting, the hose and so forth. And I will bend that around a little bit further. That's the heat shielding because it's so close to the exhaust. But huge difference, 120 for the genuine part and 35 including post for the copy. Now, as I've pulled this off, I've discovered that in here there is actually some silicone. You can see it on here and around the outside edge here. So this is either it's leaked or it's not genuine. It's already gone through one of these. My car's done 160,000 Ks now, I think, something like that. So maybe it was a non-genuine one. Maybe a genuine one would have lasted longer. I don't know. I can't tell if it's genuine or not, but I can tell that it's been replaced before. And love playing with BMWs as well. But so therefore O-rings and sealing are my thing. I've just put a little bit of silicone lubricant on here. Have a look. I'll put some links in the description for, you know, these parts, where to get them, the silicone lubricant and stuff like that. What I'm going to do now is press it into the hole and just see, is it tight, is it super loose, or what's going on. And if it's super loose, you could put maybe a bit of silicone on it, or you could even pop the O-ring off and put a bit of Teflon tape under that track and then put the O-ring back on again. That'll build it out a little bit to make it a bit thicker. But I'm hoping that the tolerances are good and that it'll be nice and tight. So you want to slide that in the spot now. Okay, so we've got this end up and the bolt started, and it's a beautiful tension. I'm just going to put it up with that little bit of silicone lube on it. And you see down here, the other end, this is a click. You put the spring in the down position. That hose is going to get right in our way. But we are just going to lift that over the end. In alignment now. That other hose is in the way, but we just got to grab it and press it on until it clicks. Okay, that was the click. So it's really good to put your finger on the top fitting that's here, so you're not pressing too much pressure backwards. And then on the bend of the hose, and then just press the two together and click. She's clicked into place and sealed. So that hose is now on, and now it's a matter of refilling the reservoir here and then doing a bleed procedure. I'll put a link up here to how to do a bleed procedure on a BMW. That actually gets the electric motor pump running and circulates the coolant through to get all the air gaps out. And then obviously once it's done, we'll check for leaks. But that's on. Well, actually it's not. We're going to do up that bolt and then that'll be on, and it'll be a matter of topping it up. I've got a radiator change video. I'll put a link up for that here. And I talk a lot about coolant and different strengths, and I've got a coolant video. I'll put a link up to that here so you can work out what coolant to put in your vehicle. So you can have a look at all of those and be really ready to go when you put it in. Okay, so we've got that pulled up now, and the big thing to check, just pull it up and get it reasonably tight, and then make sure that everything's square. Make sure that it's sitting in, because there's an O-ring there that can grip. It shouldn't grip if you put a bit of lube on it, but if you just put it in dry, you just want to make sure that everything is square and then pull it up reasonably tight. Remember, you're pulling up on a plastic fitting, so you don't give it everything you've got, but you just bring it up nice and tight, nice and snug, so it can't possibly vibrate undone. I found the best tool was a 10mm socket to do it up. And again, it's not only about getting the black fitting back here square, this part square on the whole fitting, but also make sure the socket that you're using, as I said, I found a 10mm socket, the best to do it up, or the spanner. Make sure it's on there and sitting on square. If you're sort of not looking, and you're going to end up just rounding off that nut and just make a big mess. So just make sure it sits on square, and then you'll be fine. You won't do any damage. I put the time to put the coolant in. As I said, I've done a video on coolant explaining it all. This is an 06 BMW, and it takes a green coolant. So you'll see here, for all vehicles requiring a premium Type A green hybrid coolant, BMW, Ford, blah, 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 all the rest of it that's here. This is the right one for this car. But have a look at my coolant video. Just press any of the links, it'll come up, and you can see all the different, learn about coolants and find out which one's right for your car.